Welcome to Bergen Airport, Norway. Echo November Bravo Romeo. Today is November the 6th, 2018, and the time is 7:25 Zulu time PM. And also welcome to this Dreamliner Boeing 787-9 operated by Lufthansa. And today's flight goes from Bergen to Billund Airport in Denmark. And we are now just setting up the systems for this flight, and we turn off the auto throttle, the flight director, and set the heading to the expected runway, which is runway 17. And the heading for this runway is 168 degrees. And our initial climb will be 6,000 feet. And the flight director for the co-pilot. On the co-pilot side we set the terrain and the traffic, and on the captain side we set the weather radar, the traffic, the airports, and the VOR left and VOR right. On the co-pilot side, the terrain radar, the traffic, the airports, and the VOR for the left and right. Auto brake RTO, and turn on the TCAS system, which is the traffic avoidance collision system. And now we set up the FMC. Here we can see aircraft taking off, and one aircraft, another aircraft coming in. And the reference airport is Echo November Bravo Romeo for Bergen Airport. And the route is from Echo November Bravo Romeo Bergen to Billund, which is Echo Kilo Bravo India. And the flight number is Delta Lima Hotel 1462, and we request the prepared route from Bergen to Billund, which is here, and we activate and execute. And the fuel for today is 115.4 thousand pounds. The flight level is 390, 39,000 feet. Cost index is 200. And the temperature is 39 degrees. And the velocity V1 is 144. And the rotate velocity VR is 146. And the the V2 velocity is 155 knots. And we set the stabilizer trim, which is calculated to 6.5 units for the takeoff. And for the approach in Billund, we choose 30 degrees flaps at 143 knots. And we set the V2 velocity 155 knots in the MCP. And the transition altitude is 6,000 feet. And the departure, runway 17. And we have the CAT III Charlie departure as the CID, execute, route. And we have the same velocities as before. For the arrival in Billund, we expect the ILS 09 via the EKBI approach. Execute. And the legs. We will now step through the flight plan to see if there are any discontinuities in the flight plan. And we have one here at waypoint Tomgo. We correct this and we have now the complete flight plan via EKBI, Oslo and direct into runway 09 in Billund. Back to map view. And we activate the LNAV and the VNAV. And we are now pretty ready to contact the ATC for clearance to Billund. Bergen Tower, Lufthansa 1462 at stand 1, ready to copy our air clearance to Billund.
Lufthansa 1462, Present Tower, good evening, clear to Bergen, Tuxil 3 Charlie departure, climb 6,000 feet, squawk 2522.
Get to Billund via the CAT III Charlie departure, climb to 6,000 and squawk 2522, Lufthansa 1462.
North Shuttle 4 Yankee Romeo, contact Celestial approach frequency 122, correction 120.65. Break, Lufthansa 1462, feedback is correct.
Roger.
120.65, North Shuttle 5 contact.
Now we got the ATC clearance to Billund and the runway for departure and the SID and the initial climb level was exactly what we have expected. And now we only wait for this transmission to be completed, so we can request to start the engines. The weather forecast for this flight is quite good, with clouds up to 10,000 feet and no ice conditions. The weather forecast for Billund is clouds up to 3,000 feet, and the ground visibility is very, very bad. It's only a visibility of about 100 feet, so it's quite foggy in Billund when we are arriving. Now the ATC for engine start. Request start engines, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, startup is approved, QNH 1007.
Start approved, QNH 1007, Lufthansa 1462.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain. We'd like to add our welcome aboard today's flight. We're just finishing up our last minute paperwork, and once we've done that, we'll push back. We're estimating an on-time departure. In the cabin today are some of our finest flight attendants who are there for your comfort, but most of all for your safety, so we ask that you give them undivided attention whenever requested. Once again, thanks for flying with us. Sit back and relax, and I'll update you on our progress once we're aboard.
Alright, it'll be a left seat takeoff. Taxi route is per ATC instructions. Standard reject procedures. Will depart via the SID, climb to initial altitude. In the event of an emergency return, we'll coordinate with ATC. You'll fly the airplane out on the checklist and coordinate with the air traffic control company and the flight attendants. Any questions?
Your clearance.
Okay, before start checklist, passenger signs on, flight deck door closed, MCP, V1, V2, we rotate, set, take off, speeds, V1, VR, V2, set, CDU flight. Before start, checklist completed. And we start both the engines, which we call a dual start, and now we add some fuel to the engines, and the engines will spool up, as we can see on the display.
You're cleared to leave the controls of your Kleppe and Horgefjord. Kleppe and Horgefjord. I see, yes. Yes, sir. I see it now on the chart. I will leave via Kleppe, Horgefjord, and then south. Walk-it 1-2. Walk-it 1-2, the deck is correct. Startup is approved, QNH 1007. Startup approved, and QNH is 1007. Walk-it 1-2.
And the engines are now stable. We turn off the APU. And turn on the strobe. And close the dome light.
Wildcat 1-2 taxi, holding point to runway 17 via Delta and Yankee.
Before taxi checklist, anti-ice not required, recall checked, auto brake RTO, flight controls check. Full right, center, full left, center. Full up, center, full down, center. Rudder full right, center, rudder full left, center. Flight controls check completed. Flight controls checked. Ground equipment.
Hello, Ian. National Sky Yankee ground for.
Clear to the left. And clear to the right.
Winds 110
For taxi checklist completed.
Runway 17.
And we will now request taxi clearance to runway 17. Request taxi Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462 taxi Hotel Yankee to holding point runway 17.
The holding point runway 17 via Yankee Lufthansa 1462.
And Tower Rocket 12, I have the chart here, and I see only via the Delta
Flaps
or
5,
Echo
set.
Yankee. Rocket 12. Rocket 12, taxi Delta Yankee to holding point runway 17. Okay, taxi via the Yankee to holding point 17, Rocket 12.
Before takeoff checklist completed. Break off.
Lufthansa 1462 taxi Whiskey Delta Yankee to holding point runway 17.
Whiskey Delta Yankee to holding point runway 17 Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa Alpha 412 with you established ILS runway 17. Alpha Victor 412, continue approach.
And here we go.
Continue approach Alpha 412.
Taxi lights on. Runway turn off, lights on. A Norwegian 737 have just landed on runway 17 and are decelerating for the moment, and we can see it to the left.
Shuttle for Yankee Romeo, welcome to first on hold short of whiskey. Short of whiskey, National Flanker. Also Victor 412, winds.
In the distance we can see the lights from another aircraft on final to 17.
Runway 17 clear to land Alpha Victor 412. And the Rocket 12 is ready for departure, runway 17. Rocket 12. Rocket 12, roger, hold short of runway 17. Hold short on runway 17, Rocket 12.
And I can see there is another aircraft in the start position, runway 17, and
Alpha Victor 412, go around.
if you don't take
again,
off
go
very
around.
shortly, he will make the other aircraft to go around, and here it comes the go around. So yeah,
Alpha Victor 412, follow Mr. Post.
it's not very smart.
Monitor Unicom on frequency 122.8. 122.8 for Alpha Victor 412. Alpha Victor 412, negative contact Norway control frequency 120.65. 120.65 for Alpha Victor 412. No shuttle for Yankee Romeo, taxi Whiskey Stand 29er. No shuttle for Yankee Romeo. No shuttle for Yankee Romeo, taxi Whiskey Stand 29er. Whiskey Stand 29er, thank you very much. No shuttle for Yankee Romeo. Wildcat 1-2, you were never cleared onto the runway. You had just made me, I just had to go around because of you. Winds 120 degrees, 3 knots, runway 17, clear to land, proceed Kleppe. Ready for takeoff and proceed Kleppe, left. Wildcat. All stations, Pleasant Tower is now closing, monitor Unicom on frequency 122.8. Ha det gott. Ha det bra, tusen tack.
Unfortunately, the tower have now closed, so we were directed to Unicom 122.8 for further. So we get no takeoff clearance, and we are now on our own for our takeoff. No traffic from the right, so we can line up 17. Landing lights on. And lined up runway 17. Thrust and then toga.
Check thrust.
Thrust set. 80 knots.
Check.
80 knots. 100 knots. Cross check.
B1. Rotate. B2.
And rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Traffic.
Beautiful view to the left. Autopilot on.
Autopilot in command.
Flaps 1. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer a special welcome to our following club flight. You will be earning valuable miles on your flight today. If you're not a member, please visit us at qwinksim.com. In just a few minutes, we will be beginning our complimentary meal and beverage service.
After takeoff checklist.
Stand by.
In coach, beer, wine, and margaritas can be purchased with a debit or credit. We apologize.
After takeoff checklist, landing gear up.
In-flight entertainment development
Flaps up.
aircraft includes
Green lights.
video, on-demand, as well as
After takeoff, checklist completed.
The flight attendant will be coming through the aisle with complimentary drinks. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
feet and we turn off the landing lights. The runway turn off lights and the taxi lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, the use of a Bluetooth portable electronic devices is now permitted.
And we can now release the cabin. For the rest of our climb and cruise until top of descent, I will make now a time lapse, and in the meanwhile you can listen to some music. See you later. Welcome back, and we are now close to our top of descent. So we will now prepare our descent to Billund.
that your seatbelt is securely fastened. To prepare for landing, it will be
And
necessary
we start
to
with
collect all
setting
service
the
items,
altitude
as well as any other items you wish to discard, such as newspapers.
The seatbelt signs goes on. We have now started our descent to 3000 feet. And we will now set the altimeter to the pressure in Billund, which is 1010 hectopascal. And we set the auto brake to level 2. The estimated time for our arrival is 8:53 Zulu time PM. So that is about half an hour from now. $34,000 feet. And we have a ground speed for the moment of 446 knots with a tailwind from the left of 56 knots. And we can now prepare our approach into Billund on the EFB, electronic flight book. And the wind. The QNH in Billund is 1010 hectopascal.
research here. $325. Okay, so the survey forgot to land it. Well, so I guess that's why you could eliminate 9,000 minus vehicle once you just made.
Frequency change to Unicom, thanks for the service. Good evening, Scandinavian 89 folks.
Good evening, 100, same to you, Unicom once you just made, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, 100.
Copenhagen Control, Lufthansa 1462 with your flight level 270, inbound RAM descending to 3000 feet, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, good evening, identified. Lufthansa 1462, descent flight level 100, expect ILS approach runway 09.
Descent to 100 and expect ILS 09 on Lufthansa 1462. So now we are in contact with Copenhagen Control while we are now in Danish airspace, and we got a clearance down to flight level 100, 10,000 feet. And we are now on the exact glide scope down to Billund, descending by 1,400 feet per minute.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Recall. Checked. Notes. Checked. Auto brake level 2. Landing data. VREF 30 degrees flaps at 143 knots. And approach briefing completed. Descent checklist completed. We are now at flight level 180 and decreases our speed to 250 knots, the maximum speed beneath 10,000 feet, flight level 100.
Copenhagen Control, LM2630, good evening. At ramp 92 at Billund Airport, request clearance to Copenhagen as 5. LM2630, Copenhagen Control, good evening. You are cleared Copenhagen and Billund 5 for departure, runway 09 squawk 4763. Clear to Copenhagen as 5 and squawk 4763 LM2630. LM2630, read back correct.
Copenhagen Control, good evening. Danish 952, information Bravo, QNH 102, stand Charlie 37, we are ENBR-EKBI, requesting clearance to
There's 952, Copenhagen 2, good evening, able standard instrument departure.
There's 952, please again.
So again, please, 952.
There's 952, I have our clearance to Billund, please.
We are now 49 nautical miles from waypoint Gelba and our final approach into Billund.
Are you able for the standard instrument departure?
Yeah, for the standard nature departure for Danish 952, please.
Is 952 cleared Billund, all in one Charlie departure to the right, squawk 1353.
Roger, we're clear to Billund, all in one Charlie departure to the right and squawk 1353, Danish 952.
Yes, 952, readback is correct.
Copenhagen, god aften, Scandinavian 2185, we estimate departure at 48 level 320.
Scandinavian 2185, Copenhagen, so good evening, you are identified.
Thank you.
Lufthansa 1462, descent flight level 50.
Down to 50, Lufthansa 1462. Down to 5,000 feet. Ten 10,000 feet is coming up, so we turn on the landing lights.
Approach checklist.
KLM 2630, request startup and taxi to runway, active runway. KLM 2630, push startup is approved to QNH 1011. Startup approved, QNH 1011, KLM 2630.
We are 40 knots too fast, so we will slow down to 250 knots using the speed brake.
KLM 2630 is taxi to the active runway at Billund Airport. KLM 2630 taxi to holding point runway 9 via Fox via Delta. Taxi to the holding point runway 09 via Delta. KLM 2630. Call back Lufthansa 1462, descend altitude 2000, QNH Billund 1011, on present clear ILS approach runway 09 and report established.
Descend to 2000 and QNH 101, correction, QNH 1010 and clear ILS 09 on present heading Lufthansa 1462 and will report established Lufthansa 1462.
Yeah, and Lufthansa 1462, I have QNH 1011, so check your weather program.
QNH 1011, Lufthansa 1462.
Thank you, go ahead.
Danish 952, ready for push and start.
Push and startup is approved, the QNH 1012.
Danish 952, push and startup approved, QNH 101.
We have now passed the transition level 6,000 feet and goes from standard pressure to local pressure in Billund 1011 hectopascal.
KLM 2630, holding point runway 09.
Speed down to 220 knots.
KLM 2630, winds 110 degrees, 5 knots, running to landing, okay for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, 09, KLM 2630.
Speed down to 200 knots. We are now 10 miles from Gelba and our left turn into Billund. And we set the flaps to 18 degrees.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray tables to their upright and stowed position. Ensure all portable electronic devices are turned off and stow all carry-on items. Additionally, footrests and video monitors must be returned to their original position. Thank you.
Speed down to 180 knots. The localizer is armed.
KLM 2630, you are identified, clarify level 110. Climb flight level 110, KLM 2630.
And here comes the left turn. As we can see here, we turn to the left.
KLM 2630, direct Trano, Tango Nebraska. Direct Trano, KLM 2630.
Gear down. And when we are established on localizer, we activate the approach like this. Speed down to 170 knots. And we are now established on the localizer. are waiting for establishment on the glide path. And we should reach the glide path at waypoint Osles in a few seconds. Coming up now, 1.3 nautical miles.
Runway 09 in Billund, when ready to send flight level 120. Expect level 09 and when ready level 120, Danish 35.
Danish 952 for taxi.
Coming up now.
Danish
And we are now established on the ILS 09 in Billund. Caused by the low visibility in Billund of 100 feet, we are now performing land 3, a CAT III landing, fully automatical instrument landing on the ILS into Billund. So we don't expect to see the landing lights before the last second before our touchdown.
Runway to left and descend to flight level 90, KLM 2630.
Fully established ILS 09 inbound Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462 winds 112 degrees 5 knots, runway 09, you're clear to land.
Clear to land 09 on Lufthansa 1462. 1,000 feet and no sight of the runway. Speed is 147 knots, our landing speed. Correction, 146 knots. And we are established on the ILS. We are stable. Everything looks good. We are following the glide slope on the center line. As we can see, land 3, everything looks good. 200 knots, 200 feet, 140, 30, 20, 100 feet, and we have the runway in sight.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ladies 952, runway 22 right, you're clear to take off.
Autopilot disconnected.
Winds call. Code mate.
Brakes up. And decelerating with our reverse. 60 knots, manual brakes. Auto brake off.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time, please remember to check around your seating area, in the seat pockets, and overhead bins for all personal belongings that you brought on board. Please take care when opening the overhead bins, as the contents may have shifted during flight.
as I said before, it's very foggy tonight. We can't even see the lights from the terminal building from here.
København Aften, KLM 3 November flight level 2177.
KLM 3 November, Boeing control, good afternoon, score 3764.
3764, KLM 3 November.
Danish 905 to identify climb flight level 220. 220 for Danish flight level 2.
Houston, KLM 27 Quebec, flight level 247, descending.
KLM 27 Quebec, Quebec control, good afternoon, identified.
Request gate Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, confirm Bravo.
Confirm Bravo, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, are you flying cargo or passenger?
Correction, Lufthansa 1462 on taxiway Kilo.
Lufthansa 1462, just the gate of your own choice.
Gate of own choice, Lufthansa 1462, thank you.
KLM 39 November, I identified descent flight level 120, flight direct Gelbe. KLM 39 November, expect ILS approach runway 09, information Bravo.
09, information Bravo, KLM 39 November.
KLM 27 Quebec, same to you, expect ILS approach runway 09, information Bravo.
Okay, expecting ILS to runway 09, we will get Bravo, KLM 27 Quebec.
KLM 3 November, descent flight level 60, speed indicated 250 knots or greater.
Descending flight level 60 and currently at 300 knots, KLM 3 November.
KLM 27 Quebec, descent flight level 60, speed 25 knots or less below 100.
Down to left 60 and 250 or less below 10,000, KLM 27 Quebec.
Forgot to turn on the APU when taxiing.
Canadian 2185, wind ready, descent flight level 220.
Roger, deep down, 220 with advice, Canon level 2185.
KLM 2630, leave Trano heading 090, descend altitude 5000, the QNH 1012. Leave Trano radio 090, descend altitude 5000 feet on the QNH 1012, KLM 2630.
Now the APU is running, so we can shut down the engines. And we opened the doors for deboarding and the cargo doors for handling the cargo.
Danish 952, wind ready, descend flight level 100.
Wind ready 100 for Danish 952.
KLM 2630, descend 3000 feet, high speed approved. Descend 3000 feet, high speed approved, KLM 2630. KLM 39 November speed, 200 knots or greater.
200 knots or greater, KLM 39 November.
KLM 27 Quebec, descend altitude 4000, QNH 1011, speed 22 knots or less.
Down to 4,000, QNH 1011 and 220, all this. KLM 27 Quebec.
It is 3416, descend flight level 60.
Next 60, Danish 346.
KLM 39 November vehicle, the CAT ILS approach runway 09, speed 180 knots or less to 6 miles. Code when established.
Fire Delta Killer, det er 79, 180 til 6, and call established, KLM 39 November.
Now the aircraft is secured, so we can release the cabin for deboarding.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye, bye.
Danish 3416, turn left heading 260.
Wonderful flight.
We can now connect the external power and shut down the APU.
Great job, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
KLM 27 Quebec, turn left heading 025, free speed.
025, free speed, KLM 27 Quebec. KLM 2185, leaving gate to settle for 220.
Then 2185, thank you.
Thank you very much, goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Establish organizer 7 KLM 3 November.
KLM 3 November, type for the winds 100 degrees, 7 altitude, you're clear to land.
7 KLM 3 November.
KLM 27 Quebec, descend 3000.
Descend 3000, KLM 27 Quebec.
Danish 3416, descend flight level correction, altitude 4000, QNH 1011.
Under 3000, what is on 18 straight on?
Danish 952, turn left heading 260, descend flight level 60. Flight level 60 and left heading confirmed 240. 260, expect ILS approach runway 09. Okay, heading 260, expect ILS 09, okay.
The aircraft is now shut down for the overnight, and we can now leave the cockpit. This was the end of this flight from Bergen to Billund, a night flight with a landing in very, very foggy weather, a CAT III landing, a fully instrument landing based on the computer systems of the aircraft and the navigation aid in the airport. I hope you have enjoyed the flight and hope to see you on board another time on one of these beautiful aircrafts. So see you and bye bye for now.